Dan Bidondi of Infowars.com, and it's October 29th of 2012. I'm in Rhode Island visiting family for the week on vacation, but I'm riding out the perfect storm that's coming, and so far it's a little bit rainy outside. Let me give you a good view. It's kind of windy right now, and the weather's picking up. But anyway, I wanted to share a story. Back in August when I traveled to Austin, Texas, I met a man from Homeland Security, and he also worked for Fema, whatever, and he was a ground transportation coordinator. Long story short, when I got to talk to him, he was an Alex Jones fan. You know, he's been working for Fema for about 17 years. I think it was 17, 18 years, whatever, but yeah, I learned he was an Alex Jones fan. I had an Infowars t-shirt on, whatever, and he spotted me, and I started talking to him, asking him about certain things because I heard him on the phone talking to his brother, and he was talking about Gianni Napolitano and all that. But anyway, long story short, he told me that he got called on an emergency meeting that day to fly to Washington, which was at BWI, Baltimore Washington International Airport. That's where I met him. I was on layover, waiting for my flight, and he told me a very interesting story. And he said, they don't tell me everything. This is his words. They don't tell me everything. But he goes, they called me on an emergency meeting today, and he's looking around, and I'm like, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm here with a few people, but I gotta be careful. And so he goes, anyway, what they told me was that they called me today. They called us emergency. Get to Washington now. You're on an express flight, basically. And he was heading home, and he said his job as a grounds transportation coordinator is to organize 20,000 Metro City buses. And he said they fit 65 people by regulation, but you could jam at least 100 people in those buses if you had to. He said his job to organize 20,000. That's 20,000 Metro City buses along the East Coast and key points of the East Coast. And he goes, something big is coming October, November. He told me that. He goes, October, November, there's going to be something big. He goes, I don't know what it is. They don't tell me everything. But he said, it's going to be in the guise of a natural disaster. And he told me, he said, when you go home, because I told him what I was doing, whatever. Because when you go back to Rhode Island, okay, within a week from then, they're going to be organizing disaster drills throughout New England. And sure enough, this was not announced on mainstream media either. Sure enough, well, it was announced like a day before, and it was in one place that the mainstream media was talking about. Sure enough, when I went home, a week later, boom, there was natural disaster drills being conducted by FEMA, just like he said, and by the National Guard, just like he said, a joint exercise. Well, the mainstream media says they're conducting one in Narragansett, Rhode Island. And they only mentioned one, but there was 3 in Rhode Island and several in Massachusetts. I managed to get to one, which I have the video on my YouTube, and basically they were conducting a natural disaster drill, like he said, communications being gone, a natural disaster, and power outages. That's what they were conducting, just like he told me. And he said there's going to be a natural disaster. He said, I am not sure what it is. They don't tell me everything, but he said my job is to organize and get together the 20,000 Metro buses that they need on the East Coast. And real scary stuff. And he showed me documents in his briefcase. And it says FEMA, Homeland Security, right on the documents. And I mentioned about the FEMA camps, the internment camps, which is on record, HR 645, Army Regulations 210-35. FM 3-39.40. And anyway, I told him, I said, I've been to one of these camps. I've seen one with my own eyes, actually, 2, and the third one being built. And he goes, where was that? And I said, Fort Devens, FMC Devens. If you go to Google Earth right now, type in FMC Devens, Massachusetts. That's Army Field Medical Center. And if you type that in, and you go east toward there and zooming in, you're going to see prisons there. Now, there's a state prison near there, but that's not the one I'm talking about. And they just built a whole new facility. Now it's empty. They have trucks patrolling and everything. Anyway, I mentioned this to him. He goes, hold on one second. And you get me looking around, and he goes, opens a document, another book, and he's flipping through the pages. He goes, "Is this what you're talking about?" And it was a satellite image, all the statistic data of that camp in Fort Devens, Mass. He goes, "Yeah, it is disguised as a medical center." And I told him when I went there, because I know I got friends who work at federal prisons. They don't have government license plates. All the workers coming in, they had government license plates. Homeland Security, FEMA badges on their uniforms as well. And I'm saying to myself, this is not a regular federal prison camp. Not at all. Anyway, he described this. He showed me the layout, the data, and said they're building another one, which is already built now, because it's been a couple years since I've been up there. He goes, "There's 3 of them over there. 3 of them." And exactly how I seen it, he described, he showed me the map and everything. But he said, again, they don't tell me everything. He said, be aware, they're going to have natural disaster drills up there, up in New England. There's going to be a martial law called in the guise of a natural disaster. And he said it's going to be late October, early November. And he goes, coincidental, just in time for the elections. He told me that back then. And you see mainstream media folks calling for October surprise. And we've been saying it's October surprise is going to be in November, which is basically at the beginning for the elections. So basically, we're getting ready for the storm here, and I'm going to go out on the field. I'm going to go to the beaches. I'm going to go to places. I've been to the gas stations, folks. Gas stations are out of gas. I'm going to go on the road today and show you the stuff. But the gas stations are out of gas. The supermarkets are whipped out. I mean, they're spraying fear-mongering about the storm. And yes, it could be a really bad storm, as we think it might be, because of, again, the guys to call for martial law to evacuate, which Rhode Island has already evacuated several cities, folks. Several South County cities have been mandatory evacuated. So, and they have National Guards out there. We're hopefully going to take a ride down there today and get all this on film. But folks, I'm just fearing for the worst, because right now, everything this guy has told me has come true to a T. And we're going to get all this on video, and I hope to God they don't call for martial law, because you know what that means, gun confiscations, even though when I confronted FEMA, they said we don't do that. I'm like, what about Hurricane Katrina? Oh, we never did that. It's on mainstream media. They even showed the National Guards going from door to door confiscating weapons. But anyway, they're not going to get my gun, and, it's just, it's just, a lot of propaganda out there, folks, to say, oh, we're all here for your safety. Get on the buses. We're going to take you to a safe place. But anyway, I'll get back to you, folks. I'm going to show you some videos of the gas pumps being out of gas. Signs everywhere, no gas. Water's like bottled water you can't find anywhere. Generators, forget about that. And, I hope this guy's wrong. I really do. But he's been right 99% so far. 99% except for the point they didn't call for martial law yet. But anyway, this is Dan Bidondi reporting for InfoWars.